time to explore the iTunes terms and conditions in this week's... Stop. No skipping to the end. Let's agree to watch this slam synopsis. So before you buy an iTunes song, gotta read the stock that's obscenely long. First you gotta slog through in a prologue bogged down by all caps, and that's the holy creed of iTunes, and once you complete and be agreed, you will be freed. Part A, terms of sales, will tell you agree to pay for all products through their service. Nervous? Don't be if you pay with the proper payment method. Don't think with your head, click a link instead. I hate to vent, but we're not 10% in and you are sent into another webpage. But I'll douse my rage by scrolling to... All these sales and rentals are final, press it onto vinyl, and price could have some tax. Relax, it's based on bill to, address, and present tax rates, no debates, and if price changes after you buy, you'll be denied a refund or reduced cost, because that's the way the internet cookies crumble. Apple Value Services LLC will oversee your gift cards, and basically, you can't sell them for cash or perhaps an 8-ball, you can only use them online or in an Apple store at your local mall. So, the cash value of these cards is 1/10 of 1 cent, so you need 10, which is many to be worth a penny. These cards can only be decoded in the U.S., its territories, or its possessions. Time for a lesson. A possession is like Puerto Rico, Guam, or Samoa, and give me some more of them. Possessions we crave. Let's see. We also possessed... better not go there. If your stuff gets stolen, their gill won't get swollen, and some electronic shtick will pass through California or Virginia. They get all up in your account, but don't count on a warranty, but they will dismount you. If something is broke, they swear to fix it, but some states may nix it with their laws, and how Jaws has extra bites, you may have extra rights. To gift a sweet riff for jam session, you gotta keep it in the U.S., its tears, or its possessions, and have discretion. If you pre-order, they can auto-download when the product is released unless you cancel prior, but I'm preaching to the choir, because you two know that you two can't just get YouTube without being a buyer or subscriber. Family sharing is caring. 1OG is the organizer, and this is the Kaiser of 5 other accounts. It is paramount that you're at least 13. I mean, if you want to be alone from your parents, because kids with iTunes will just be errant, right? Invite someone to join your family. You're helping another find a home, but they can't roam too far because the organizer is responsible. Respect your czar, and not to burn a bridge, but only one family at a time. Tell that to my friends who keep raiding my fridge! Sorry. If you submit to iTunes, you might need some hardware to get to the Playroom, and if you aren't using Apple products, they just may scoff. Any pleasure you have could be Microsoft. Also, bad news, I hate to be the bearer, but they are not responsible for typographical errors. And after all of that, we're only on Part B, which is the iTunes Store Terms and Conditions. Let's break down the partition. This legal agreement governs your use of the iTunes Store. Obviously, and frankly, you're lucky Apple's letting you use it. Don't lose it with poor speed. You need more speed, they say, is more formality. Just one more reason for net neutrality. And again, can't be 10, gotta be 13 unless you have cool parents who should sit down with their kid to go over this legal psalm. I haven't sat down with mom since I needed her permission for DisneyChannel.com. Keep your account near and dear to your heart and let Apple know when that secrecy falls apart. And if you want to buy, you gotta use your Apple ID and password or Touch ID, and oh lord, it's another link! Just make sure you're not full of shit and your info is legit. Let's see, you call the shots if Hot or Not tracks can be attached on other devices. It's to say that if you get something on your iPad, you can get it on your iPhone. And don't moan, it's got to be iTunes eligible and legible to be copied. And again, no more than 10 devices, 5 of them being computers. Listen to your tutor. Apple TV is not an associated device in these matters, but is it worth the clatter? Finally really realize that some of these files could be of a large size. For annual fees, they can charge you no more than 24 hours prior to the end of the sub, and I say this because it gets repeated a lot, so I'll just not. So remember that for all annual fees going forward. The next batch is on iTunes Match, and for that annual fee, you will see remotely accessed songs. Their library is 100K, which is 100,000, which a lot's a lot allowed, and it's designed to match your music, not originally from the iTunes service or purchased on iTunes, and then they match it with their legit songs. But it's got to have good quality or computer criteria, or they will not feel you and back out. Back up all your non-iTunes music, because their program could be chock full of errors. Don't talk about the terrors. Don't be a liar. You definitely didn't get your music from LimeWire. Rest in peace. Done with piracy, onto privacy, and their privacy policy perplexes me to pick a particular link. Please practice placing practical information on the primary page. They say if you use Genius, don't Remus anew, and your information, they'll take some and make recommendations to you and some strangers, so if you don't want that danger, don't enable it, just disable it in the store menu. Then you read that Apple can change content options, object, deflect to this address if you have an issue, or just take a tissue. Usage rules! Actually, it doesn't, but these rules state don't be controversial, use it only for personal or non-commercial. And there is limiting security technology, but there is an impurity with no criminology. iTunes Plus products don't have that tech, so you can't wreck it rough, but you can...
I don't know. Burn stuff?
I didn't use it in the last poem, that line, so yeah, but you can burn stuff, according to this. Now the fundamentals of rentals. You got 30 days OKs and 24 hours to consume in your room, in a car, in a box with a fox or a lass. A season pass will charge you full and you got 90 days after the final content comes out to download. And of course your device might have the Midas high def touch, and such is the case with all high def enabled devices. Now if you want to submit your own great music fit for a regal gentleman, it must be legal and any third party links gotta be clean, and obviously Apple can use it as a part of their products or service, in case you accidentally submit a song to iTunes. I will now stop all flow on a dime and not rhyme because the next part is important. You may encounter material that you may deem to be offensive, indecent, or objectionable, and that such content may or may not be identified as having explicit material. So, if it's serial or surreal music, don't be a dick. Don't scorn when you've already been warned. Now finally, we see why Apple is better than PC. By now you might be lost in some trance, so let's snap you out with a safety dance. They literally tell you not to stare at the screen for too long or you'll get eye ache, so take breaks. I guess those stakes are raised after you're done reading this diatribe. I have to transcribe. It's a bloody mockery. All property belongs to Apple and or its licensors. No ripping trademarks or any content without consent. You always need consent. If you fail this service, they can terminate you and exterminate you if you make a major mistake and break the rules. They'll take all fools out, and I won't omit that they admit that your experience may not be perfect, both technically and legally, but they will see to protect and defend to the very end. At any time, Apple can digimodify this agreement, and you will work perhaps anonymous with Apple and law enforcement, which one day will be synonymous on any problems and solve them, but if there is a part where Apple effed up, you can't be death up to the rest of the agreement. So now we can finally click agree. Oh wait, part C. Why was I bleeped? They read the warning. We will be here till morning. The next section is App Store galore. You got Mac App Store, App Store, App Store for Apple TV and iBooks. There are too many words, too many cooks. To make this whole agreement seem more complete, a lot of the same stuff they just repeat, but then your eyes are slowed. Some apps will auto-download, and then you have app bundles, which are a group of nice games with price the same for all of them together. Not a bad bargain. Oh look, more legal jargon that we got in A and B. Call A&E because someone needs to get checked into the Bates Motel. Let's scrape statutory exceptions. This means if you are a public educational or government institution and there's no attribution of a law to you, then you can draw a woo because they won't apply to you here either. In addition are additional terms and conditions because they can't just keep going and flowing, knowing that throwing that line in there makes no difference. Anything you purchase is licensed to you. You don't get to claim it as yours no matter the prices. In-app purchases can't be transferred among devices, and our favorite vice is a free trial, but you got 24 hours prior to the end of the sub bub to cancel your auto renewal or it will be cruel to charge. Charge! 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 Popular near me. I know you are. It will collect info and use it to sample some ample apps. We have more usage rules, and girls drool. It's more or less the same. You can use an app on your device, and what's nice is if you're a commercial enterprise or public institute, you can plink it and sync it with other devices. But wait, there's more. If you're a big core, multiple users require separate licenses. It's kind of like how everyone needs a different code for an e-textbook in college, which you will have graduated from by the time you're done reading this. Okay, that was hyperbole, but we see safety hazards, and I'd hazard a guess. Yes, more license stuff. That's Order of the Phoenix length and quality. End user license agreement, but it's not the end, so why write end if it's not the end of the end, especially for some third-party legal sentences. This feels like life sentences, and then you clue into a new ruin as this little guy helps define commercial items, and now we are done with them, but oh look, iBooks! The new info is that publishers of iBooks are responsible for that iBook, and then they surround it with non-rough similar stuff about third-party to kill your buzz. More usage rules. Actually, O'Doyle does. Apple Music is our home stretch after parts A through C, so now we're on to part D's nuts. Ha! Got him! This is mayhem. Again, you have a legal stage with age limits, but we'll just skip it and talk about the 100,000 songs in the iCloud bibliothèque. It's like a mega to store all your tunes, and the boon is this doesn't include songs you purchase from bands. They'll scan what you brought and show you what they got on their server, but service will stop if you quit. Your Apple Music will fly out that door, baby. Bye, bye, bye. Boy, that was a chore. I hope you were not bored and did not ignore. I said press it onto vinyl B4 because I sounded like a broken record. Thank you for being so docile, listening to the gospel according to Steve Jobs. It robs you of your time, but don't be mad. Had you not read, you'd end up a human centipede. October 21st, 2015 was the last time there was an update, which is great because it's the last thing you see. So all that's left is, do you agree? Hi, I use a Mac and I use a PC. On a Mac, you can subscribe to Fun Slam videos right here on YouTube. You can do that on a PC as well. Okay, but this whole video was edited on a Mac, so that makes no difference to the audience at the end of the day. It doesn't. I guess it doesn't, yeah. We don't discriminate here. Subscribe no matter which computer you use.